What's up, everybody? This is Jdog for the Balding Plebs on YouTube, and let's talk about Subnautica Below Zero, specifically the game in its current state after the most recent Seatruck update. Now, this is the first major update that they've released for this game, and it does add quite a bit to what was a pretty bare-bones experience at the start. So obviously, you know, this game is in early access, and they're kind of building the game as they go. You can pick it up for $20 on Steam or Epic store, and you know, this is pretty much what you've got right now. So let's talk about what we've got going on here. Really, the Seatruck is the first major vehicle that you're able to build, and it's a vehicle that allows different configurations and different mods to be added to it, so to speak. I think, honestly, it works a lot better in theory than it does in practice, at least in my initial time with this vehicle in the game. For me, the Seatruck felt very tedious. Spent a lot of time trying to back it into its compartments, trying to maneuver it where I wanted it to be and go, and I would have been a lot happier with the Seamoth or something like it, to be very honest with you. I do like how it has a fabricator option that allows for the mods or the upgrades to be made right on the vehicle itself. I think this is very, very neat and is a major positive. But the actual creation of these different compartments, so to speak, and then putting those compartments and attaching the compartments to the Seatruck, for me, felt more tedious than I really wished it had been. Let's talk about some other parts of Subnautica Below Zero as it stands right now. So also with the Seatruck update, we got two new biomes. This smokestack biome, which you can see right here, and the deep twisty bridges biome. One of the things I really like about, especially the smokestack biome, is just how resource rich it is. If you need to find a resource, just come over here. You can look right here on the screen. You can see diamond, magnetite, gold, silver, limestone. You're going to be able to pick up just about anything you need at this biome. It's not a very dangerous biome. You do have some bone sharks floating around, but I found for the most part they leave you alone. So this is a great place to come and literally load up on anything and everything you might need. I also like how there are so many different pieces of the Seatruck scattered around. I never really had to look really hard to find the upgrades to the different modules that I needed to build or to the Seatruck itself. They were literally everywhere. Okay? And I liked this. I thought in the first game there was a lot of searching for specific upgrades, and I found myself spending many hours just looking for that next piece of, whether it be the Seamoth or whatever we were trying to build. I don't feel that way right now in this game. I feel that you go to one of these biomes, you look around for 5 minutes, you're going to find multiple pieces that you can scan until you can make the next upgrade. And I really like that. It feels like resources and pieces of, you know, vehicles or pieces of blueprints seem much more readily findable and attainable in this game. I also think that the overall biome look and creation is better than in the first game, at least initially. I thought in Subnautica, the original Subnautica, some of the original biomes felt a little bit samey, boring. They seem more varied here, a little bit more different life. You've got, again, way more resources, more caves, more just overall structure, I think, that keeps them more interesting to explore. So those are major positives about where this game stands right now. With the game being in early access, one point I do want to make is that the biomes feel contained. And this isn't necessarily a negative, because obviously it's something I think you pretty much have to expect, or at least accept, if you're going to play this and you're going to buy this in early access, is there are just certain parts of this game, certain biomes, certain whatever, that aren't made. The problem with that is it does create this feeling of separateness within each biome, right? Where when the game is finished, my expectation is going to be that these biomes kind of bleed into each other and allow you to basically peruse the entire map in a very kind of a way that's seamless, right? And unfortunately, we don't have that currently, all right? When these biomes end, you basically come into a empty, dead placeholder. Again, it is something you need to kind of expect and accept if you're going to play this, but just understand that it is the state of the game at this time. And, you know, it is going to be something that you're going to have to deal with. So, let's talk about the squid shark for a minute and some of these new enemies. The squid shark is awesome. It's a really neat looking enemy, but it's also relatively easy to kill. And I did kill mine in my game. Stasis rifle and a basic knife, and you can do work on this thing. And you can actually check out that video. We're going to upload it here in a bit. But yeah, basically you stasis them and you hit them with that knife maybe 25 to 35 times, and you're going to kill them, and you're going to own that deep twisty bridges biome. It's a great fight, not quite as harrowing as maybe the Leviathans in the first game, but certainly a nice little precursor to what I think is going to come in the game here as we go. So that was very cool, and I was very excited to find that I could actually take him out and own the deep twisty bridges biome. There's also a new enemy called the sea monkey, and these bastards take your equipment. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is obnoxiously annoying, especially when you're trying to get something done, whether it be to, you know, maybe just gather some resources or whatever, and these things come by and they steal your scanner, they steal your knife. Super annoying. Yes, you can get it back. Yes, you can probably stasis them and kill them, but it certainly annoyed the living hell out of me. They're definitely one of my least favorite enemies in Subnautica, both games, because I really don't like losing my equipment. I don't really care if I lose a couple pieces of titanium, but I do not want to lose my equipment. So, for me, I'd say the sea monkeys are my least favorite thing about the game as it stands right now. So, what else do we have that we should talk about here? You're going to need to make some upgrades to your Seatruck. And this is where I think a lot of the meat of the second update comes in. Is once the actual Seatruck itself takes quite a bit of resources to build. I think you need 5 advanced wiring kits, if I remember right. So you're going to be looking for some gold, silver, different things for quite a while. It requires quite a major investment of resources just to get the basic little drivable portion of the Seatruck built. That doesn't even include any of the modules. And then, once you build the fabricator module, you can build 4 different upgrades for your Seatruck. And these require some, I wouldn't say hefty resources, but they do require some resources. So this is where the bulk of the play comes in for the second update. Again, is it a major issue? No, because it does give you something to sink your teeth into a little bit while we wait for them to create maybe some more storyline or something. I did not see additional storyline in my playtime. I do have about another 5 to 6 hours with this update, and I did not see additional story. I saw very rare, if any, voice or anything like that that would have made me feel that they had added anything storyline-wise. Again, not a deal breaker by any means, but just know that this update itself is more about getting this vehicle built and getting its upgrades created, and probably going and maybe building a base down in the deep twisty bridges if you so want to. The deep twisty bridges also have a plant, or like a leeching plant, that sucks you into it. This is a super annoying enemy, and they seem to hit you very often, and unless I just haven't figured out how to avoid them, I found them extremely, extremely annoying. So just understand what you're dealing with when you get down there. You are going to have some interesting enemies to fight, so to speak, or to avoid, I think is a better way to put it. So, what's the state of this game right now? If you're buying in early access, you gotta almost make your own fun, if that makes sense. Whether it be putting the effort to make some air filtration systems that come down a couple of 100 meters, make some different bases in some of the different biomes, because there just isn't a lot to push you forward. And then on top of that, there isn't really this sense of grand completeness of the biomes yet. So the game does feel a bit contained, where you're like, okay, they created this new biome, we'll go spend time there and figure out what's there, and we'll spend a good couple hours actually checking out said biome, instead of really maybe just going there, spending a little bit of time there, and then moving on to something else, like maybe you would in a completed version of the game. So there is a certain sense of you need to be able to create your own fun, if that makes sense. You need to be able to stay motivated where there isn't necessarily something pushing you forward. But if you can do that, the game itself, it has that same sense of mystery as the first one. And I really like it. When I first played Subnautica, and I got about 40 hours into it, and pretty much got through the game. Unfortunately, we were on Xbox, and we just weren't able to complete it due to massive glitching. But I found myself spending a lot of time wishing for other games that created that same sense of mystery and atmosphere that game so perfectly created. And I hadn't been able to find one. And this game, again, it really brings back that awe and that what could be around this corner. Very few games do that correctly. Very few. This one, like its predecessor, does it very, very well. I do highly recommend this. Even in early access, again, assuming that you can sort of create your own fun, right, without necessarily having a storyline to push you forward, because there is going to come a point after a couple of hours where the storyline is just going to stop. And even if you're able to get into new areas, even if you're able to go to the new biomes and make this Seatruck and make some of these different new items, there's still not going to be anything actually driving you forward. So just make sure you understand that. But I certainly still recommend the game. I do believe that we have a much more interesting starting space, so to speak, than we did in the first game. The overall vibe of these biomes feels a lot more interesting, a lot more just like they have their own sort of vibe to them that I thought was missing in some of the biomes in the first game. So I do like what I've played so far. I would say the biggest gripe I have outside of some of the annoying enemies is the Seatruck itself being kind of annoying to actually work with. I really hope they'll tidy that up. I built an aquarium mod, and I'm not sure if a bone shark ran into it a couple times or what happened, but I had it sitting outside of my base, and I don't know if I died or what exactly happened, but I couldn't find it after a while. So again, I don't know if it got destroyed. I don't know if it sunk. but I don't know where the fuck it is. So those are some of the weird things that I ran into. I didn't get a message over the top of my screen telling me something got destroyed. I didn't find any scraps of it laying on the floor, the seafloor. So, again, there was just some of that type of stuff where I'm like, what happened? Why did it happen? And I was kind of left in the dark. So these are the things that I do hope get cleaned up in the game a little bit. Once I make the part of the Seatruck, the module, I'd like to at least either have a storage place for it, or if I do detach it, that doesn't mean I want it to disappear, right? It should stay where I put it. Or there should be a building I can make for my base that allows me to store them there. So it could just be my inability to understand how to use the Seatruck specifically, but to just have one of the modules disappear was kind of a problem for me. Outside of that, I like the 2 biomes that we've got here so far, the 2 new biomes. I think if you can put up with some of the annoyances of the leaching plants down in the deep, twisty bridges area, that's probably the most unique and interesting biome that we have so far, just because of its depth. And of course, the deeper you go, the more danger and risk there is because of how obviously far away from the surface you are, maybe how far away from a current base you are. So if you do die or lose something there, getting it back is always a little more challenging. So we are starting to see some of that. Again, you are going to need some upgrades to your vehicle in order to get down that far with it, but I think it's worth the effort. So overall, very much enjoying what we have here in Subnautica Below Zero so far, and can't wait to play more. And check out the video of me talking shit to the corpse of the squid shark after I kill it. It's quite funny. So this has been Jdog for the Balding Plebs on YouTube. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back here with more Subnautica Below Zero as it is released. GG, ya plebs.